Okay. First thing is I like to cover. I work mainly with two wires: thin wire, thicker wire. The thin wire I normally work with is 20 gauge, so this is 20 gauge wire. The thicker wire I mainly work with is 14 gauge. So you got 20 gauge, you got 14 gauge. I also use a wire stripper. So if you're gonna have a successful wire business, wrapping business, you need copper, and they sell all kinds of wire to wrap stuff with. A lot of that wire is aluminum. A lot of that wire is not like it don't like jewelry wrapping wire. I don't really use that. I go to Lowe's or Home Depot and I buy these. This is 500 feet of 20 gauge. This is 500 feet of 12 gauge. And I bought this off of Amazon. It's a wire stripper. How you use it is you feed. So it's got two holes. Always use the bottom hole, a smaller hole. I had this for a few years. Needed to get another one. This right here loosens it. You push the wire through. When you spin it, when you twist this down, it literally cuts. There's a blade right here that's pushing down on the wire and it's cutting it. So the wire is right here. I put a drill on it. This right here don't sell with a drill. It sells with a crank where you just turn it. Where you can put a drill on it, you tighten, take the crank off, put the drill on it, pull, and then you look at the wire. You make sure you don't have it too tight. If it's too tight, it'll put a groove in the copper. You don't want a groove in the copper because it could actually be sharp and could cut people. So if you screw this too tight, the wire could be deadly. It will cut you. So you look at it before you run a lot of it. Once you get it to how you want it, you I normally have it mounted down. So as you see, the wire is coming through. So all this is stripped wire now. The wire you got, I don't believe this is real copper.
Yeah.
But it looks good. But what Copper Vibrations use is real copper. Also, this copper is like, you feel it, like bending. It bends, but it's stronger than this. It holds shape better than this. And that actually matters. So when you get this, you need to mount it down so it won't just fly off anywhere. This is a real machine. You want to stick your fingers in there,
So,
be responsible.
So how much is that?
This machine is like $150 on Amazon. I'm pretty sure she'll probably buy one. I also explained it to her. But yeah, so I run this wire through. Let's just. I re-wrap it up on a thing like this, but right now I don't got one.
Okay, so you just
Run some wire. Time's sake. Put it on the factor. Why?
And I noticed that wasn't very common because these kept making dents and scratches when I was trying to do these.
That can happen in this too. But
then I was seeing that the copper was coming out. I like the color was coming out.
yeah, the color coming out. Yeah, was that jury making wire?
I think so. This is what I just took the sheet had already to start practicing.
Also, the truth is this. 500 spindle of this is like $40. A 500 spindle of this starts at like $65, $70. So 500 feet. I mean, that is nowhere next to what I just stripped. Now, I normally leave the casing on the wire until I'm ready to use it, because this wire oxidates. It turns dark. It'd be this color.
Yeah.
As it's in the air. There's things you could do to brighten it back up. But when you leave the case, if I stripped it like this and leave the casing on there, I don't gotta worry about it oxidizing. So when I peel it and make it for a customer, it looks fresh. So this is 14 gauge. The higher the number of the gauge, the thinner the wire. This right here is 20 gauge. See? 20 gauge, y'all. And I do the same thing. That wire was thicker, so when I put this through the smaller part, I raise this up, I put it through. Now this is the wire that really will cut you if you smash it. So you gotta be careful. So you see the blade?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're putting it in between there and the blade, and then we slowly tighten the blade up. And you strip some, and you look at it. Now, if I switch this wire, the 20 gauge, it'll turn it real sharp. Like this right here cut my fingers before. So be conscious. I normally put it on the spindle. Time's sake, just go fast, fasten up. Let's cut this. Let's move this out of the way. So we know for working with real wire, and that matters.
It does matter.
Because copper have a lot of healing energies. It's a real conductor of electricity, so it's gonna conduct the energy of the crystals.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what, you know.
It oxidizes slower than the craft wire. Not that stuff, but like the other wires.
Because that's real copper, and that look like brass. I don't know.
But like when I buy other vendors, they oxidize so fast. I mean, I just bought it. It's already starting to oxidize and turn colors, and that's not right.
So.
Slow. Like I had this. I haven't worn it. It's my first time. And,
Yeah. I can tell I made that. How you ain't wear that in a long time and it still look good?
I got it like 2 weeks ago, but I haven't worn it. I had it like, I kept it like in my pillow or something.
So choose a stone. I normally have multiple choices of crystals.
You dropped the stone, right?
I get it.
So I heard her say, okay. Do you have any of that?
Which one?
Okay.
Malachite?
Okay.
Unakite?
Yeah.
These are
Using the
unakite.
cut. I was in the shower when she was on the live. So I don't know what it looked like, but it sounded like what I mean.
Yeah, that's unakite. Let's put a couple other stuff up there. my wife teaches stones. I don't really know. I'll have to ask her. Okay, so we're gonna give you some of this wire.
So what's like?
When I first started, this was my favorite tool. A wire crimper. They sell it everywhere. This tool costs more than those tools. It is more like a $12, $15 tool. They sell it at Walmart. They sell it in the art supply stores. But I want you to use this. And when you get a chance, go buy one. I done started working with thicker wire. Started working with thicker wire, so I started using tools like this. And what I do is I go in and I sand down the teeth. I even seen somebody wrap tape around it so it don't leave dents. But I use thicker wire.
So what does the crimping do?
That's so you could grab the wire and control it. It's easier to grab and control. I do the same thing with this one. But yeah, that's a good one to start with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna choose one stone. We're gonna choose this bloodstone. We're gonna take the thicker wire. I'll start out with the thicker wire. I'm gonna do an arm length. I had some tape. I had a tape measure on this table. Where is it at? Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna do my arm length. That's me stretching my arm out. And now that I got a tape measure on the table, I'm gonna measure it just so everybody don't got the same wingspan. So it's 9 feet. Yeah. So if you want to use this, you can. But I'll start out with like 9 feet. With 9 feet, I can make a bracelet, a pin, or even a ring. I know it's over enough.
I think that was my
I
fault.
peel off of the casing, so now I got the pretty wire. First, you need to get a wingspan or 9 feet, whatever you choose. And then you cut it. You can just put this down. Peel the casing off. That's garbage. Now what we do is we roll up both sides because wire will smack you in the face.
Yeah.
And the ends sometimes be sharp enough to scratch your face. Or, yeah. So you don't want to scratch your face, you don't want to smack yourself in the face. This is what you should get to. Yep. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the stone, we're going to take the wire, we're going to bring them together. Now what I'm teaching you is the basis of all my pieces when it comes to jewelry. What I do is I hold the stone, I hold the wire, and I wrap the wire around the stone, going in the same motion without overlapping the wire. Holding it and pulling it. I'm not pulling it with all my strength. I'm pulling it so it's hugging the stone. I want it to, like, my wife called it, I'm putting the stone in a cage. So when you're done, it should look like this. You don't want one or two wraps around it. You want multiple wraps around it. That way it's literally inside of the wire. The stone is in the wire. The stone is in the wire. You hold it, keep wrapping, pulling it tight without all of you don't use all your strength because that'll tire you out. You hold it and you pull it tight. Yep. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Yep, pull it tight. You don't want the stone to be loose in there. You want the stone to be in there. So the stone is in the Y. That's the first. This is like number one. Wrap the stone in the Y. You're doing good. And the more you do it, the quicker you be at just grab the stone and wrapping around it. You're using a tumble stone too, so tumble stones be slippery. The raw stones, like if you was wrapping this, it would have been easy to wrap it. But you need to know how to do them all. And the better you get at it, you wouldn't have to have so many wraps. Because I could do this without having it wrapped so many times. Like yours is wrapped up, which is good, but soon you'll be able to do it without so many wraps. But now, the truth is, even though it's in the stone, if I pull it, it will fall apart. So we don't want the stone to fall out. So what you do, once you got the stone inside the wire, you take one end of the wire and you wrap it tight going up. Now you can go along the side, but you have to bring the two wires together. One side comes up to the other side. Yep, perfect. Now that you got both wires together, you take one of the wires and you wrap it tight around the other wire. Now what I'm doing, what I just done, you know, I just pulled it and it came apart. Now when I pull it, it's one piece. This is the basis that a lot of wire wrappers need to know. How to keep the stone in the wire. Now, if I just make a bell, that's a pendant. It's simple as hell, but it's a pendant. You could say it's finished. But what I do is I bring in my 20 gauge wire at this time. This wire has two purposes. One is to look good. I get to do the designs and all the other stuff. If you see in my design, it'd be this wire that's making the design, like the piece you're wearing. Is this part that's weaved back and forth. But it has two purposes. One is for a design, and two is for tying everything together. It's like it's like the thread, and you're sewing. You sew everything together. So I'm gonna do. I normally do 2 arm lengths. So that's 1 arm length. This is 2 arm length. 2 arm length is over enough. I'll measure it out. Probably like 18. Yeah, right there. And what is that? What's that like? I don't even read the measuring thing no more. It's like 11 feet.
Yeah, I see right.
So, here you go. There's a lot of wire. I probably should start you off with half this.
I'm sure I'm small.
Yeah, I'll start you off with half it. And we can always add more wire. Let me get super long. Because we not really. This is enough wire to make a bracelet out of.
Oh, gotcha.
And this is the start of a ring or bracelet or pendant. All of my rings, bracelets, and pendants, the majority of them start off just like this. I secure the stone first, and then I build it out. I build around it.
I could see that, but I'm like, well, how do you get the other stuff around it?
But that's easy.
Just spend all day trying to figure it
I'm about to show you. So now that you got the long 20 gauge wire, we're gonna bring the two ends together after you peel off the casing. So you bring the two ends together. Once you got the two ends together, you find the middle. Yep, this part. That's what you want. You take your piece. You take your piece you're wrapping, and you know where the middle is. And what you do is, where your piece at? You take one of the ends, and you sew it through the very top part where these two come together. You also want to catch one of these wrapping things, and you grab both ends like this, and you pull it until you in the middle. See what I did? So I didn't just start here. I sewed one of these things because this is why I got two purposes. One is going to look good. Two, I'm about to sew all this together so the stone can't escape. It's like I put it in prison. Now I'm going to wrap it up. So it's like how a spider, first you hit the web, then the spider come and wrap it all the way up to the point where it can't escape. That's what we're doing with the crystal.
So I feed it like right here?
Yep. Through like, yep, there you go. Yep. And then you bring both wires together, and when you pull on this, you'll get to the middle. Yep. Yep. Now that you're here with me, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna, so we got two ends, right? Huh? You don't gotta twist it, just pull it. So now we got these two ends. We're gonna sew it. Undo my creativity weave, which is in, around, in, around, in, around, in, around. Now you don't gotta do a creativity weave. You can just use both things and wrap the whole thing. Okay.
So how do I start where do I have this back in there?
Yeah. How you start is you go through here, but you pull these together, and what you're doing is you're weaving in and out. For like an inch and a half, go up. Yeah, keep going. Now the tighter you pull it, the cleaner it'll look. tool to push it down. Let me see. Your hands covering it up. I want to see your weave. So your weave is real loose. So if you pull this tight and you control the wire, bring the wire together, and then simply weave in and out, in and out. It's that simple. You see? You do. Yeah, pull it. You gotta pull the wire. Another way to tighten your thing, let's say you do it this loose, right? See how loose that is? If I hold the wire and I pull and I just go back and forth, I'm not using that much strength. That's tightening up.
I'm using rose quartz.
Okay. What is it? Pendants, bracelets, rings.
Well, those are probably pendants right there.
Okay.
You know, those hard eventually get a few more hard. Hard pendants and the amazonite.
I need
Gotcha.
a, Amazonite card. Everything is so swift.
Let me see how far you get. Okay, that's perfect. Now what I want you to do is fold this down. Now, if I fold it, now I'm looking at which is the front. That's the front, I'm folding it down. Where is the front? If this is the front, I'm looking at how I'm folding it and where I'm putting it. Then I'm gonna take, after you got it folded down, I'm gonna take this wire, the end, and I'm gonna sew it to one of these bars.
And also that should not be a part of your class too.
Okay, but that's easy to learn from YouTube. That's where we learned it. But okay,
I know, but she got all these pendants and she gave me some strings, so.
I got you.
So I do it to the bottom.
You sewed it through? After you sewed through, let me see. Now what you're doing is you're using the 20 gauge wire to make a design, and when you sew it to the bars that's going around the stone, you're making it into one piece. You're locking it all in.
Kind of stuck.
Yeah, when it gets stuck, sometimes you want to back up, straighten out the wire itself, and then pull it. And then, I don't want to do a foot. But then you go back to wrapping, weaving it. Separate these two so it'll be easy to weave. Always control the Y. Bring them apart at the end, but together right here so you can easily weave it without it giving you a headache. But then do another sew. You got to keep sewing it to lock the whole piece together. The more you sew it, the more the piece is one piece. You need to learn every time you make one. If you feel like you could have did something different and better, the next time you make it, you do it a little different and better. See, I sewed it right here, and I sewed it right there. So now this stone is harder for it to come out because I'm locking it in. When I get to this bottom, I could make it be real sharp. Helps out the design. So when you take this tool and you pinch it, sew this part, or weave this part. You don't have to do that, but I'm just telling you, you just, play with it, just go with the flow. But the key thing you're doing is you're using this 20 gauge wire for a design, and you're also tying it all into one piece. As long as you do that, your pendant is not gonna fall apart. Also, if this was a ring, the difference between this being a pendant and a ring is when I get here, I'll go straight down, and that'll be a ring. If it's a pendant, it's going up and it's making a bell, and it's a pendant. So it's the same design. If it was a bracelet, I would actually send this one way, send this another way, and then bring it back. It's not long enough because I ain't put enough wire on this particular one. But if it goes up and down, and then I use the 20 gauge to tie all that together, it's a bracelet. But the start of the stone being locked in is the same. So you have to master wrapping around the stone, bring the bottom to the top to lock it in. Then from there, your world is open to design it however you see fit. So on this side, I sewed it through on this bar, and I sewed it through on this bar. So therefore, this is not separating from the stone, and the stone is not escaping. And on this side, I did not sew it through nowhere yet. So when I say sew it through, as I'm going in this weave, I catch the bar underneath it. So this is me sewing it through. I caught the bar underneath it, and I'm pulling the wire. So now that I got this bar underneath it, when I go back into the weave, this is no longer coming up because it's tied down. Because it's tied down, this stone can't move at all if it did have any move. And if I continue to weave, like such, all right, now I'm here. When I pull this forward, this part come forward. See? Let me sew it right here. The more you do it, the faster you get. My sensei used to always say, don't worry about speed. When you're learning a new technique, just make sure you're doing it right. You don't want to master and be real fast at a technique that you're doing wrong. So it's not about speed starting out. It's about doing it right. Once you do it right, then you could put in energy to be faster. Now I'm trying to pull it up. It won't come up like how I was just doing. This right here looks like a pendant because this is coming up. But if I spin this down, it's a ring. See? It's a gorgeous long finger ring. All I gotta do is make this into, you know, wait, it literally wraps around the finger on the bottom. And it'll be a ring. And people will love it. But my wife asked me to make a pendant. So I'm gonna send these up. Now, I control the wire, so I'm designing the way I want the pendant to go up. I'm controlling the wire going up. I want it to curve and then go up, like real smooth and pretty. Like you controlling the wire, so design it how you see fit. I'm keeping on the same weave. I'm getting to the end of my wire though. And this was only an arm length, something like 9 feet. This is when the tool come in. You grab the end of the wire and you wrap it around itself, around the thicker wire, until, see, you wrap it around it tight. When you get to the very tip, you use your tool, and you wrap it around, then you use your tool to push it down. So you should end up with that. A beautiful pendant. But you need the bell so the chain or the string or whatever they don't put it on go through. You can take like something like a pencil or a pen, put it behind it, wrap it. So it's two things. I separate them. I send one on one side and I send the other on the other side. Pull this out. Gorgeous. To finish it, I take one of the wires, I twist it around the back. I cut it. And I take this piece, that's the end of it that I cut, and I twist it in. I twist it in while I'm making like a U-turn, and I clamp it on the inside of the bell. because this part right here could be scratchy. I clamped it on the inside. Rub my finger across it, make sure ain't nothing poking out there that can scratch me. That's on the back side, so the front still look pretty. I do the same. I cut it. See? Take my tool, I grab the very tip, and I spin it in. See? It's spent in. It's kind of blocking the hole, so you want to go back in it and clamp everything so the hole is there. Beautiful. Stunning. Pin it. You can keep going. Let me see. Sew it again. So she's going around the stone. So what she needs to do is push this down. Take this and sew it through one of these bars. So she's sewing it together. So sew it through one of those bars. Now you're making it into one solid piece. The more you do it, the better you get, the quicker you get. Don't worry about speed starting out, but make sure you get the concept, the understanding. Now we doing a weave going around the stone, but you don't have to do a weave. You could just wrap the wire around one bar. You can send one bar around the stone. I'll do that next just to cover it. My wife gave me a couple of stones over here and told me to make pendants, so I'm about to pick up another one and make a pendant. So I just sewed it right there. I don't want the stone to go nowhere. Yep. Sometimes you can use a tool to pull it, to grab the wire and pull it through. When you So I wrapped it out here. I'm folding it to the stone. Then I'm gonna sew it through. When the wires start getting kinks in it, it's good to take them out and then pull it through. The kinks sometimes stop it from coming through clean. But you're in control. You can stop, take a part out that you're weaving if you need to, especially if it's not acting right. You can back up and then move forward. You don't have to be as fast as me in order to make this into a successful business. But it is true, time is money. The longer you take on a piece, the more it should be sold for.
side.
So I'm gonna do a little design right here. So why not? I'm gonna take this wire, make a little spin, and then go up into the bell. To lock this in on sew it through right here, because this 20 gauge wire is used for two purposes: for it to look good, and for two, to lock it in. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's that important. This bell is gonna be me wrapping both wires and make it into one thick wire. So I'm gonna wrap both of these wires. Are you still sewing it together as you going around?
Stuck again.
The wire got stuck. Let me see. I'm pretty good with unsticking the wire because it happens to me too. So there you go. Separate these two. I'm gonna wrap both of these wires around one of the bars. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna take one of my tools, round it around till it's laying flat against the bar. I'll rub my finger across it. I'm going. Again, you can take a pencil, put it behind it. Start to make the bell, separate the two, bring one on one side and the other on the other side. Pull your pencil out, pen or whatnot. Cut it. Cut it. Okay, let's do it again. Take the stone, right? Take the wire, bring them together, wrap the stone in the same motion without overlapping the wire. When you're done, the stone should be stuck in the wire, not going nowhere. But if you pull it, they'll fall out. It's not in there for good. To lock it totally in there, you bring the bottom to the top. You wrap it around the wire. That helps lock it in. It's not going nowhere. That's what we want. And then we get our 20 gauge, the thinner wire. For pendants, I normally just do arm length. For bracelets, I do 2 arm lengths. It's like 9 feet. Pull the string off. Pull the casing off. It's the casing. Throw that away. There's the wire. Find the middle. Okay. Is it sewed together? Is the thing falling out? Is it put together as one?
Yeah.
That's good. Actually, I'm gonna do a different design going around this particular stone. So I'm only gonna put a little bit through on one side. The majority of the wires on the other side, I'm gonna roll this up so it don't stab me or scratch me. I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna wrap it around this bar, like such. And then gonna push it together to make this clean wrap. You see? It's loose, push it together, looks tight and clean. I didn't overlap it. If I overlap it, it won't look clean, it'll look more like a vine. Some people wraps look viney, which is cool. It's art, you can do it, it's your creation, so it could be rough and ugly and loose. Mine's is tight and pushed together. I bring it down, see that bar right there? I'm gonna sew it. Sewing. Take a tool, grab it, help pull it through. As you can see, I'm sewing it. On this side, do the same thing. Just wrapping it. See, it's kind of loose. Push it together. I'm at this bar right here. I'm gonna sew it. Back. Look at it, see how's it going. It's clean, it's nice. Somebody will love it. Let me see yours. Yeah. I don't like how loose this is. This piece right here is real loose. If I was you, I'd cut it and then push it out of the way. But yeah, so what you want to do is you want to tie this to that bar and then stick these up somehow to make the bell. Tie it down one more time and then let those go up. Yeah. So I'm pretty quick at actually spinning wire. So what I'm doing right now is I'm spinning wire. This is a technique where I'm applying pressure and I'm spinning the wire. Where it only take me a few seconds to spin enough wire to wrap around this whole piece. Still, I want to stop every now and then. So, what is it? Yeah. So bring it back in there. Now you're making the bell. So sew it up and then get use your pin or something to make the bell. Now that I got it, now I came back around to the top. Take the two bars, separate them. One go on one side, one go on the other side. Take these wires, bring them back together, and let's weave this bell. Here's where you should be. When you here, all you gotta do is put something behind it, separate these two, wrap it around it. See? Bring one bar on one side, the other bar on the other side. Loosen it up to let this out. Now, if I don't like the way this looks in the front, I could bring this bar around and I could just straight do a circle. This right here helps cover up any imperfections I might have started with. Now they just see a circle. People love circles. Let me see.
I know.
Which way is the front? Okay, so what you'll do is you'll turn this, then you'll take something like that or wrap it around, probably something smaller. I ain't mean for that to fall through. So take this and wrap it around it and make a bell. Wish I had a more thinner piece. Here, use this. Put this behind it and make a bell. Further down. Yep. That might be too small for you. Is it too small for you?
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead and try to use one of these. I'm about to try to take apart your pen. Can I take apart your pen? We'll put it back together. We'll use that slippery pen. Yep, just like that. Keep pulling the wire though. Pull the wire tight. And then do the other end. Come all the way around. Yep, hold it from this angle, this side. Yep, hold everything and then take that and wrap it around. Babe, you got more stuff for me to wrap? I have to get them in the very back.
Thank you. Oh, these are nice.